our motivational coaching webinar. We went back and forth with the title today about being curious, not critical, not using criticism to build trust. And then I was like, that doesn't make sense. Who would use criticism to build trust? But as we go through today, um, we'll talk about more about what we think about criticism, um, from a coaching perspective. Again, my name is Peggy Garcia-Marquez, and I live in Belen. Um, and I've been in this field. I'm actually retired from the UNM Valencia campus and now working with NEMEA. And I'm happy that you are all here today. Um, I do not like to just lecture and listen to my own voice. I do not mind being interrupted. I prefer that someone interrupt me if you have a question on your mind or you have um, an example you're thinking of, or if you have an aha moment, please interrupt me. I want this to be very dynamic discussion. Um, and you can unmute yourself at any time or raise your hand or also type into the chat. Okay. Anyone else want to say hello, introduce themselves quick?
I'll go. Hi, my name's Nina. I am an instructor at Taos Education and Career Center at UNM Taos. And I'm still relatively new to adult ed. It's been about a year, so yeah.
Nice. Thank you for being here.
Thanks.
Well, I'm Bill Ladke. Nina, I'm glad to see you. She was with me in that TSTM cohort. I'm an HSE teacher at Western, teaching online asynchronously right now.
Hi, Bill.
Hi.
And I'm Jamie Trujillo. I'm the program director for the Albuquerque Adult Learning Center, as well as another trainer for NMDELT as well.
I am Saad. I am from Dona Community College teaching ESL. And it's nice to meet you all.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And I'm Tina Hyde. I'm going to be your moderator today in the background here. And I am the professional learning coordinator for Propel, bringing you all of this wonderful professional learning. And I have been in adult education for a very long time. As someone mentioned last week, decades. So it's nice to see you all here.
Whoops, why did that start? I'm going to send you away for a minute to the link. Tina, can you put that link in the chat, please? Are you able to?
Is it the Jamboard link that you want or the breakout link?
No, this website. I put a link in it, but I don't know why it's not working right now.
I'm not sure that I have the link, but I will find it.
I really need two screens at home here. What I wanted to do is send you all away to do this value card sort really quick. And I don't know why. There you go. Tina put it in the chat. So if all of you will click that link in the chat, you have 5 minutes to follow the directions on this page for values card sort. And I'm going to start a timer. Can everybody access the link?
Mhm.
So you'll have 5 minutes. And then come back to the meet, please. Two minutes left. One minute. Gosh, that's obnoxious. Okay, that's 5 minutes. If you can please return to the meet. And you probably did not get through that whole exercise, but it's something that you can revisit later on your own. I did it yesterday to check the link and to see if I could do it, quickly. And it was a little difficult. Did other people find it difficult? Because you're like, yeah, everything on this page is important to me, right? And to really have to, what they have you do is cut it down, cut it down, cut it down until you get to your really top 5 values that are really, really important to you. And my question to you, and you can either put it in the chat or you can just unmute, is why do you think that we're talking about values in an education webinar? Anyone?
Well, I think values direct really anything you do, regardless of the field you're in, especially when we're looking at coaching and providing support to others. The values are kind of the foundation or the basis for that.
Mm-hmm. So you have personal values, you have organizational values.
Well, Peggy, I think it's sort of your true north to keep you on the straight and narrow.
Yes, true north. I like that.
Also, I mean, if we're, working with other people, which we are, like colleagues and students and administrators, our values can help us, I don't know, I guess stay true to what matters, and hopefully we have similar values to the people we're working with too, or at least some of the same values.
That's very interesting, because what if you don't?
Right. Then it might be a challenge, but that happens.
And if you did not have similar values or even competing or opposing values, do you think it would be important to know that?
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
And so what about your students? If you had opposing values from your students, how would you be able to help them set goals, make decisions, address challenges?
I'm going to let someone else answer also.
Yes, anyone. Whoops. So from a coaching perspective, it's that, our beliefs, our values, our memories, our experiences are our senses, everything that we take in, all the input that we have affects our decisions, our behaviors, and our decisions. And so as a coach, when we are going to help students, it's so important to be curious rather than critical, because we have to know that for everybody, our values drive our behavior. So when someone's behavior is not in alignment with what you think they should be, it's important to step back and say, okay, there's something behind this. It's not just an unhealthy behavior or a bad decision that this person is making, because we do not always know the motivations behind that behavior. And so when we're talking about what happened here, whoops, I'm going backwards. So what I would like you to do is take a minute to write down a goal or a plan that you've been thinking about doing for some time. And it has to be in your head only. It cannot be something that you've already taken action on. And it can be anything. It can be, I want to eat more vegetables. I want to start walking. I want to remodel my kitchen. I want to declutter. I want to get a master's degree. I want to go to Hawaii. Anything, any kind of goal that you've been thinking of for a while, but not taking action on. So please do that on a piece of paper quickly. Anybody here want to share with me what that goal is? Are willing to do a little demo with me by sharing that goal?
I can share mine.
Okay, thank you, Jamie.
All right, I want to visit Iceland. Never been there.
You want to visit Iceland, you've never been. Okay, well, the first thing that you need to do is don't make the plans for yourself because it'll be a mess. You'll be stressed out. It's like, you need to get a tour. And in order to get a tour, if you don't have the money for it, you need to like recruit 6 other people, and then you'll just be their tour guide, and then you'll get a huge discount on yours. And the other thing is that you need to do it quick because, you're getting older and you'll probably be walking a lot, and you don't want to do it when you're not going to be healthy enough to do it. So what do you think?
I think I'm not going to go to Iceland.
Whoa. Okay. Now, imagine that somebody walks in your office and says, I want to get my high school equivalency. And what do we do?
You want to make sure you get help because you can't do it on your own, and you want to get it done now because you're not getting any younger.
And so right away,
Don't do that, but I'm saying like if we did do
yes. So right away, we tend to jump into let's do it, right? Often we don't take the time to learn the background, learn the reasons, learn the circumstances, so that we can truly support someone in their decision. And so that's how coaching steps in. So Jamie, how did it feel for me to just bombard you with suggestions?
that was very overwhelming.
It was very overwhelming. And was any of that good advice for you?
No.
No? Would
Nope.
you ever be a tour guide?
I've never even been there. How could I possibly be a tour guide? I think I would if it was something that I was familiar with, but never been there.
But I didn't even ask you a single question about why you wanted to go, why Iceland, what, your travel expectations or experience or whatever. I jumped in. And to think about in terms of working with a student about how many times a student walks in and says one thing to us, and immediately we know exactly what they need to do because we're really good at advice giving, or at least I am, or used to be before I learned coaching. Okay. And so when we are coaching and working with students, it's really important to put our judgments aside, which is really, really hard. And so I want to, I hope this plays. Show this quick little
Non-judging
YouTube.
is a
Whoops.
very important
Can you hear it?
element of mindfulness practice, and in fact is part of my working definition of
Yes.
mindfulness, which is the awareness that arises through paying attention on purpose in the present moment, non-judgmentally. And the non-judgmentally is the real challenge, because when you start to pay attention to what's on your mind, you very rapidly discover that we have ideas and opinions about everything, just about everything. And we're always judging things in terms of, I like that, I don't like that, I want that, I don't want that, this is good, that's bad. It's like a steady stream of judging. So when we speak of mindfulness as being non-judgmental awareness, it doesn't mean that there won't be judgments. It means that you will be aware of how judgmental we actually are, and then not judge the judging. And when we relate to it in that kind of a way, then we begin to see that our judging is very often black and white. It's either this or that, good or bad, like, dislike, want, don't want. And we get imprisoned by that kind of view. But being non-judgmental doesn't mean that all of a sudden you get stupid and think, well, I'm not going to be judgmental, so I'll just walk out in the street in front of an oncoming truck. What difference does it make? No, it means that we will cultivate discernment. This is the capacity to see what's actually unfolding, but not to judge it, but to recognize it and to understand it in relationship to our experience. So when we speak about non-judgmental awareness, we're talking about a very fine degree of discernment, of clarity, of wisdom, of understanding the interconnections between things. At the same time, noticing the tendency to judge quite quickly, like, don't like, want, don't want, and to recognize that that actually creates a kind of veil or a filter in front of our eyes that doesn't allow us to see things as they are, but to only see them through the lenses of our own ideas and opinions and likes and dislikes, which is practically blinding to us. So this is a wonderful discipline, the cultivation of awareness of judging and the cultivation of being gently non-judgmental or not judging the judging that we do discover in ourselves. And over days, weeks, months, and years, we can begin to actually find a way to navigate through our judging in such a way that it no longer dominates our lives in quite the same way. And we recognize when it comes up that it's actually, in some sense, toxic. And the more we challenge it, and the more we rest in discernment and in pure awareness, the more we can live life authentically in the present moment without getting caught by our own habits of mind, unhealthy, if you will, habits of mind.
So that was kind of woo-woo, wasn't it? And I know that some of you were not here last month, but we talked a little bit about all these hats that instructors wear, that teachers wear, and program managers wear. You know, we have all these hats. We're not just an instructor, we're a nurse, we're a counselor, we're an administrator, we're a what else? I mean, 10,000 things that that instructors have to be. And also to think about, is that really true? Do we have to be all these things? And what happens when we don't take responsibility for what we don't really need to? Like when we are choosing which hats we wear. And if you really think about these expectations that we place on ourselves, they're not always the expectations that the program or the job actually requires of us. And it's like, yes, it's because I'm a caring person and I want to help. And thinking about the difference between help and support is also part of taking the responsibility from the responsible person. Because remember, we cannot make anybody do anything, but yet we know what everybody else should do in order to be successful, right? How many times have you told a student, you just need to do this, 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 and this by next Wednesday? Simple, 3 simple things to do. They come back, they've done none of it. Well, we didn't even know if that was actually possible or doable for them based on their situations. And so when we can get out of that judging mode, when we can get out of a expert mode and get curious about things is the way that we allow the students to come up with their own solution. And when they come up with their own solution, they have buy-in to the consequences of that solution. And so coaching is about remaining curious rather than judgmental. By the way, did you know that curious and judgmental could be opposing? They're not exactly antonyms, but they can be really opposing. And practicing the cultural humility. So see and listen, but don't evaluate, avoiding assumptions, not jumping to conclusions, um, and do not problem solve based on our own values. So when we did that value sort, I think it's really important for us to be aware of our own values, and it's valuable, values and valuable to us to learn what our students' values are, because that helps us to be able to support them in a different way instead of having these expectations of what we think a good student is, of what we think how a person can be successful, because we don't know the circumstances. And I don't know if people are old enough to remember Dragnet. Um, the facts, just the facts, we don't need we don't have to learn the background and the reason and everything, because frankly, it's none of our business. And um, I need to give you a good example, and I'm thinking of these two different ones, but I'll just talk about when I was turning 50, I wanted to be more physically fit and be more healthy. So, for the first time in my life, I actually hired a trainer at a gym. I had never spent that money before. I had never had an actual physical training program. I had been to the gym, I had been to classes, I had been to yoga. I went to the gym like every morning at 5 a.m. and did yoga class, but I never really worked with a with a trainer teaching me how to use the machines, doing a program. And so I jumped in and decided to do it. And so I did it in Albuquerque because I was working in Albuquerque at the time, and I live in Belen. And so anyway, I went to this trainer, $250, which is like a chunk for me, to do something like that for myself. And this trainer right away, I went in and I said what I told you so far. And he's like, okay, so what you need to do is you need to come in before work, and you just need to do this and this and this. And I'm going to teach you, I'm going to get you on this program. And I said, well, I don't want to come in before work. And he's like, well, um, already with the excuses. No wonder you're this age and you're still not healthy and you still haven't done it. And I was like, whoa, that's a judgment. And so instantly I shut down. I felt shamed. It was like it wasn't an excuse. It was about logistics for me. I rode the train in, and there was no earlier train. And so there was no way possible, logistically possible, for me to get in and go to the gym before work. I had to ride the train and take two different buses. And so without him even asking me when I would want to do it, how I saw it fitting into my life, how often, right away I got shamed. And so I shut down and I left that day and I never went back to that gym. And so sometimes when we don't take the time to even ask people how they think they can fit things in, how they think they can solve this problem, how they think they can meet this challenge, we're not, um, we don't know the whole story, and we don't need to. What could he have asked me instead?
I mean, it's as simple as just what time works for you, right?
Yeah. What time works for you? Yeah. Simple. And I love that you said that because coaching and powerful questions should be really simple. And so I am going to skip that one, but to truly support people in growth and transformation, we cannot do it by taking their power away, trying to fix their problems, criticizing, shaming them, which is what that trainer did to me, and overwhelming them, which is what I did to Jamie earlier. And so when we talk about holding space for people, it's about we walk alongside with them without judging them, without trying to fix them or trying to impact the outcome. We're trying to give away the responsibility. It's like, you know what? I have 2 kids and 2 grandkids. I don't want to be responsible for more people. I don't want to make decisions for more people. I don't want to solve problems for more people. I want to do it for less people, you know. And so when we employ coaching, and this is a buildup, we're talking about foundations of coaching. We want to give people permission to trust their own intuition and feel safe enough to fail. And so when we haven't told them what to do, when we have allowed them to make their own plans, we have given them power over our relationship. And when we talk about if I made a plan with him and said, I think I can do this 3 nights a week after work because I can take a late train and then I try that and I'm home too late and it doesn't feel good, I can go back to that trainer and say, oh, that didn't work for me. And the trainer doesn't have to be responsible for that plan because he didn't make it for me to begin with. And so we can say, okay, that plan didn't work. So let's try something else. And so the responsibility or the shame is not there. We can say the plan didn't work, not that the person failed. And so the opposite of holding space is hijacking space. And so when you think about the word hijacked, what do you think of?
Taking it over.
Taking over. Yeah, you think of some kind of military group that's coming in with machine guns and kidnaps people, and so what they're doing is taking control. And a lot of times we take control of the situation when a student comes to us because we're the expert. We know what they need to do. We know what they need to do to solve their problems. And we know how and when and why and what. And they just need to do these 3 things and then it'll work. And so what we're doing is we're hijacking the space and the control. And we really have to think about is it our ego in the situation? Do we enjoy saving people? Do we enjoy um, helping people? Like, what is our motivation here? And yes, we're all in education, so you have to be a helper, right? We're not in it to get rich. We all know that. And so we are helpers. And the word help to me is even kind of if you're talking about, opposites, in order to be, is it like if someone is the helper, then is the other person the helpless? And it's like, no, and it's if someone is a supporter, is that a different feel? If someone supports you as you do these things or asks you, what kind of support do you need? Rather than, let me help you do this. Do you think there's a different feel to those 2 phrases?
Peggy, I had a situation this morning. I was looking at a student's attendance or activity in a learning platform, and she really just fell off the cliff. So I just wrote her, hi, I noticed your attendance has dropped off. Is there anything I can do to help you? And in reflecting on what you're just saying, it looks like I'm in there, but I really wanted to get her, response to, what could I, what's happening here that we could address. I don't know, I guess I'll have to rephrase that.
So if you said what kind of support do you need in order to continue this, platform or, put more hours in or whatever, what kind of support do you need at this time? I think that's such a different feel because then they start thinking, okay, what do I need in order to be able to do this? And it's not that you're swooping in to be their savior and help them, right?
No, I was just trying to elicit from her, what the
Yes.
issue was.
Yes.
And then maybe together I wasn't going to solve the problem, but together.
Right,
we might be
right.
able to.
But I think there's also a different feel for saying, what kind of support do you need? Because that makes it kind of where they start thinking about actions,
Okay.
specific actions about what they need. And it might be like, yeah, do you have 3 extra hours in the day? And what could you say then? Anyone, what do you think?
Well, I think, Peggy, that invites sort of a yes or no type question. Do you have an extra 3 hours? No.
No,
I
I
would
mean,
put-
if the person would answer, if you said, "Can I help you?" And they're like, "Yeah, can you give me 3 extra hours?"
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
You know? And so right there, it's like, bloom, okay, this person is overwhelmed. This person may be juggling responsibility, but it's also about what kind of support do you need in order to get the time to be able to do this. They're telling you they don't have the time. And it's not like, let me give you some time management tools or do this instead of this. Again, it's asking those questions. What kind of support do you need to figure this out? And if you sit back and you're quiet, they'll come up with it. And you want to allow them to make different decisions and have different experiences. So if you say, yeah, this is how I do it, just like the trainer told me, this is how I do it early in the morning. And it's like, well, as you start talking to them about juggling time or whatever, and I don't know, what if they said that they, have to go to the casino twice a week? And it's like, well, can you give that up? And it's like, no. So it's about being not judgmental about what they feel is important to them. Say, well, where else can you shave off a couple of hours? Where else can you put this in? I don't feel like I'm being very eloquent with my examples today.
Well, to follow up on my earlier experience, the young lady came back and said that her laptop was dying and it couldn't charge. So, that was one instance where we at Western are offering, loaner laptops. That's something she couldn't do. I had to do that. But
Mhm.
I think she elicited the fact that, yeah, I need help, and here's one area that I need help in. I didn't feel that was an issue at that point.
So that was a really simple fix.
Right, but I think it exemplifies the fact that sometimes we have to get involved, maybe just because of our, positional authority, that I can get her a laptop from our main office. She could call also, but maybe she didn't realize that avenue was open to her.
Right. So I'm aware of some resources. Would you like to hear about them?
Right.
And again, that's still her call for that. Thank you. Thank you. And so the basic foundation of coaching and being curious is listening, active listening. And I really like this graphic because it talks about holding judgment. And I I'm assuming that many of us have heard about ways to listen and active listening. And I think that um, a lot of times we can, instead of truly listening, we are devising in our head the reply to what the person is saying. And so often, so often in when I have been training people to be coaches and we talk about the powerful questions and they're like, "Can you give me a list of the questions?" And I'm like, "There's not a list of questions because you should not the question should come from the person's answer to the previous question. There is no script of questions or perfect, powerful questions. It's from truly, actively, and deeply listening to what the person is saying. That's how the next question should arise. And you shouldn't even know the next question you're going to ask until they have stopped talking. And I don't like to read out PowerPoints to people, but these are all about powerful question. They're about being curious. They're understanding the other person's perspective. There you go. They happen in the moment. They're not scripted. There's not any perfect, powerful questions. They're truly open. Can't be answered with a yes or no. Simple. You said that earlier. There's no correct answer in mind. They're thought provoking. Generate curiosity, challenge assumptions. And you're going to have an opportunity to do that now. So earlier, when I asked Jamie about her goal, and I bombarded her with, let's just say, ineffective advice, what we're gonna do is send you into a breakout room, and it's gonna be a pair share. But in this pair share, the first person is gonna tell their goal, and you're only gonna have a couple minutes. And then the second person is going to ask them a question about why they have that goal and ask them a question about how they think they can accomplish that goal. So for Jamie about going to Ireland, I could say, what's important about Ireland to you? And what do you think about how you can accomplish that goal? How long have you been thinking about it? And have you accomplished a goal before? And how did you do it? So, Tina, can you send us to a room? And we're only going to have 5 minutes because we're almost to the end of the hour.
Okay, and Peggy, we had a few people who had to leave, so I'm putting you in a breakout room as well.
Okay.
There you go. Diane, are you able to find the breakout room?
Is everyone back?
Those of us who are left are.
Okay, so
Actually, Diane's missing.
oh, we lost her. I don't see her on the call anymore. Oh, she would have to rejoin, but I don't know. Okay, so Nina, can you do you want to give us a quick debrief on that experience? Would you mind?
Yeah, sure. So I was talking about a goal that I haven't really put into words before, so it's very, very vague, but I want to do research on something and I'm not exactly sure how to start. And so Peggy gave me she asked me questions that were very open-ended, but that kind of like guided my thought process. And it kind of started with like asking me more about what this means for me, and then it kind of progressed towards like when might I want to start this. And she also asked me like, when was there another situation where you had this type of like situation, and like your thought, and what did you learn about like your thought process? So I thought that was really interesting.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And Bill, did you want to say anything about your what you just experienced?
Yeah, I was talking with Diane. Unfortunately, she's not here, and we did have a small technical glitch where we sort of lost each other. But she was looking at this webinar mainly as an observer to see if it might enhance her current teaching capabilities within, I think she was with CNN. It was a little, she said she was going to retire, so I sort of didn't know how this was going to go here, but and then we sort of lost touch with each other for a while, so it came back. But the funny thing was, I think we both agreed that we both have to look at more active listening skills, because we both questioned exactly what it was that we were supposed to be doing here. So
interesting.
yeah, it's because we thought that, I guess we had a preconceived bias of what was going to happen going in, and it really didn't pan out that way. So yeah.
Interesting. Thank you. That's good feedback for me. And it looks like we lost our presentation. Oh, it's 1 o'clock. So I just I'm not going to keep you after 1 o'clock, but I'd like you to think about how it felt to be asked questions rather than somebody going in and think of advice. Because actually, Nina, I was already thinking, oh, she should do this and she should do that and she should do that. In the back of my head, I was already making all these plans for you. But I refrained. I held my I held back on doing that. And I do hope that was supportive and helpful in your thought process. And thank you, Bill. And to think about how we do that with students. Gosh, this time just goes by too quickly.
I would just add one thing. I had another student, I looked at their attendance, and it was kind of low. And he was a prior student a couple of years ago that sort of is returning. And, my initial thought or judgment was, you're not going to make it at this rate. And I did hold back. I held the judgment, though. But then I looked at it and I said, he only has 15 more points to go within this program to get out of this unit and go into the next one. So my comment was, hang in there. 15 more points isn't that tough. Go for it. And so I think you still hold the judgment, with a bias, but you just have to hold it back a little bit and not let it be exposed to light. So.
That is the perfect example from the woo-woo little film that we watched, where we judge the judging, right? Or we're mindful about the judging. So it doesn't mean that we don't judge. It's like this natural state. When he talked about walking in front of a bus, we are constantly judging everything around us so that we can be safe, and it's evolution. It's like cavemen when they saw a lion and had to run, the fight or flight thing. And we're constantly judging everything around us. But to judge the judging is the perfect example that you just gave. I still came up with like 10 good ideas for Nina. And you're still gonna, have those judgments about whether you think that students are make it or not. But it's important to withhold that. And so thank you for that, Bill. That was a perfect ending to this today.
By the way, I'm okay with it if you want to send me your ideas. I'm open to that.
Well, I don't want to give you a bad idea and then be responsible for a bad outcome. So I will offer to you, if you would like to explore this further, you can find me on Peggy at NMDelt, and I'll be happy to coach you through your process. But I don't want to be responsible for any of your circumstances. I don't want to give you advice that ends up crashing and burning and be responsible for that. So
okay. All right, got it.
Okay, so was spending the last hour valuable to you, to either of you in any way today?
Sorry.
Definitely, yeah. Yeah, I didn't really know what this was going into it, but I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. So just to let you know that right now we are planning, these webinars are just little snippets from the full coaching course. We're doing webinars right now. We have plans in November to do 2-day in-person in Roswell, a training. And then we have plans in the spring somewhere in central New Mexico. And we also have planned to do a full-blown course in the spring, not just webinars. So right now I'm doing webinars and snippets and getting people's interest and getting their appetite wet. And Bill has been through our online course. And so Bill, it would be great if you could join us in person.
Well, we'll have to look at my schedule. Send me the dates that you're looking at.
Yeah, we're all that is working out. Tina's working that out. We're working that out together. And as soon as we get those finalized, we'll be sending it out. And so I'm hoping that that people can join us. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Another good